what's already available to them.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating to see what they are doing. What might be more frustrating is what they're not doing. Apparently there are technologies available to people like BP. They are not listening to these people. They are not taking the suggestions that they really ought to from private industry. Let's bring in Rick Reichmuth now, who has some interesting insight into this. Rick, why are they not listening to some of these companies who are lining up to say, we've got this suggestion?
Yeah, you know, I think part of the problem, and I've talked with a number of people in the Coast Guard, as well as some of these private business owners, about this exact issue. In the past, any kind of oil spill that we've ever had has been a tanker leak. That is a very defined amount of oil that goes into a spot that they can begin to clean up. They've contracted out contractors who are paid by that cleanup job in order to clean up any specific oil spill, who don't necessarily have an incentive for that cleanup process to go quickly, because they make a lot more money, the contractors do, if it does not go quickly. So that's been the history of this. Now you have an oil spill like this with an endless supply of oil pumping into the ocean, and they're way behind on these technologies because they've never had an incentive to do that. Now they have to try to get on board with some of these new technologies, and they're playing a big catch-up game.
Let's get specific about some of these new technologies. Earlier we spoke to on the show Glenn Rink, who runs, he works for Abtech Technologies. They've created a thing called sponge, I'm sorry, it's the...
it's like a foam, it's just a sponge.
Smart sponge, that's it. And it absorbs the oil pretty dramatically. Take a look and listen to what he had to say about this as he's demonstrating. He's pouring motor oil mixed with water through the smart sponge, and notice what he's on the bottom part of that test tube that's coming out. Clean water is coming out below that.
And that's what's so fascinating, because what you want to do is obviously be able to separate the oil. Maybe we could even still use it. So it's basically a filtration system that lets the water look clean, as you can see, underneath it, and it captures all of the oil.
Right, and it does not let that oil back out, Rick, which is the key there, right?
That is the key.
Release it?
Yeah, other technologies that they've used adsorb, which is a difference. They don't absorb it, they adsorb. So it will take it in, but then it will leach it back out, kind of like a paper towel.
Yeah.
It can soak it up, but then it leaches back out. This technology here will hold it. It's a polymer that holds it. It does not allow any of the oil to go back out. Then they can remove that container, replace it with a new one, but that container that's filled with oil, they can use then as biofuel. So you're also not losing that oil. You're able to do something with it.
And remarkably, some of this technology is 40 years old that they're still using because they've not wanted to work with these outside contractors. They've not wanted to work with folks like Glenn.
And
it's
apparently
unconscionable.
they are cheating on these tests on the blowout preventer, which is also a frightening revelation.
Right, which got us into this problem to begin with. All right, in the meantime, we do have some other news for you here. The rest of your